but sharing many of the same practices. That what I would say, sort of same behaviors, same practices. Most notable and most striking is the scale, the really astonishing scale of kleptocracy that we now see in America, which is, again, something that is happening on a level that's never happened before. I mean, we've had corrupt presidents in the past. I mean, I don't know, Ulysses S. Grant was said to have granted some contracts to his brother-in-law, stuff like that before. But we now have a president who has set up a cryptocurrency company whose sole purpose is to enable the paying of bribes to the president. So you buy Trump coins, they can't be traded, they can't be sold. The only reason to buy them is to have made an anonymous contribution to Donald Trump. And presumably somewhere, either he or someone in his company knows who you are. And that's a new level. There was a New Yorker piece a few days ago that touted up the various different ways in which Trump and his company are making money off of being president. And they calculate that in the last 6 months, I think it was $5 billion is the amount of money that's made. And as I said, the scale and the nature of those payments are stratospherically different from anything we've seen before. So we have, again, American foreign policy being sacrificed to the whim of the president and his family. So the government in Vietnam offering land to the Trump company to develop a golf course in exchange for a better tariff agreement with the United States. So that's, again, a direct bribe going to the president, to his family, in the open. We all can see it, in exchange for U.S. policy that is different. And this, as I said, this has become even clearer in the last few months, especially also as Trump seeks to have the same kinds of relationships with big CEOs of American companies. And we see we see there something that just looks a lot like Putin's Russia or Xi's China, where both foreign and domestic companies compete for the favor of the leader and for his personal blessing and the friendship and love of his family, in order to have good U.S. foreign policy. I mean, and that's brand new, and that puts already the U.S. in a different category. It's already not a rule of law country. It doesn't belong with European democracies or with Canada or indeed with Latin American democracies, and others who still operate according to the rules of, as I said, of rule of law, transparency, accountability, and normal anti-corruption practices. And so we see increasingly the president in his behavior and in the behavior of his administration aligning themselves with the autocratic world. I mean, you can also argue that in other ways, the U.S. is beginning to behave much more like an autocracy than like a democracy as well. And so, for example, again, U.S. foreign policy, I mean, the U.S. decisions to cut funding, not all these funding cuts have succeeded, but attempting to cut funding for Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, Radio Free Asia, Voice of America,